Thank you for the flowers, Tom. Yeah. Well, we'll see. You're going to judge afterwards, okay? So, well, I like to talk about biological inspired intelligence. Well, one of the reasons we named that like this is because we all know artificial intelligence didn't work. So we don't like to go back there. So we like to do a step forward. And actually, artificial intelligence, no wonder that it didn't work, because even the term is wrong. I mean, an artificial flower looks like a flower, but it's not. So no wonder having artificial intelligence is not working, because it's not really intelligence, it's only artificially intelligence. So you know, that's not what we expect. So what we expect is intelligence in processes. So if I'm not there, the system is doing what I would do if I would be there. That's smart. So I can rely on the system that it has decision making and everything, and it's doing, and I know what it's doing. It's not something I find out afterwards what it did, or maybe I never find out why it did. So that's the difference between biological inspired, means that I inspire the system, and then the system takes place for me, and it does actually what I wanted to do, but on a smart way. There are a lot of people running around about semantic web, Web 3.0, 2.0, and so on. And one of them is Miles Davis. Maybe you have heard about him. And they all say semantic will be the angle point. You know, everything will turn around, rotate around semantic systems. Everything comes together there, because we need more content-driven and content-orientated systems than technology-orientated. It has to be some kind of self-adjusted and intelligence in that sense. And I agree on that. We agree totally on that. And so what we are selling, actually, and I have divided this speech into two parts. I will first tell you what the technology is. It's a shrink wrap box like this one here, and I will show you where we can use it, where we can apply it, and then I will go into the technique and explain a little bit why we can do that and how it's done. And if there is something you say, wait a minute, that can't be true, just ask me. Just, you know, come up and ask questions, because then, you know, we make sure that everything is said and everything is laid up out here, so that you can understand what we're talking about. And I'm sorry for my English accent. You know, as a Swiss, I'm trying very hard, and maybe I improve if I'm staying longer here. So what we're selling is the technology packed into an API and into libraries. Because we don't like to make final applications. We like to sell that, and then OEM companies, partner companies will use the technology and then produce their solutions, enhance their existing solutions, or even making new solutions. We claim that we have started a new line of evolution. It's not a derivative of anything existing. Forget about what you knew about neural computing and all that. It starts at another point. Well, at the end, you know, the light bulb is getting light. And you may know about water power. And then if you're talking about nuclear power, you would think, well, so different it couldn't be, because, you know, at the end it makes light. But it's totally different. If you don't know anything about, you would have a hard time to understand it in an hour. And that's about what I try to explain you today. It's a total other way of approach to get to some similar results, as you know already. But the trick is having one solid base where you can do all from it. So it works into sound, it works into text, it works into images, pixels, all over the place. Any kind of data you can process in this technology. And that's really the difference to all the solutions before. And I will try to get you closer to that. I will start a couple samples. Now, this is a sample when we started. After a while, you know, I was the first investor in this company, and so I had a venture capital company before, and that's how I run into that. And I met this guy, and he's really a mad scientist. He's living on cloud 7, and, you know, a hard time to catch him. So I knew if I'm gonna interview and invite any of my colleagues in the venture business, they will say, you're mad. I mean, you're mad always, so now we're even more crazy. No, we will not support you. So what I did, I started that my own, because it was so amazing what he told me that I said, okay, I can't left that. I mean, I have to go into that. Now, the job we had to do here was relatively simple. You see numbers up here, and there are between 16 and 18 digits there. And what they have, this is the signature and the receipt. If you buy in a Swiss superstore, if you buy some goods, and you have to sign, and then you know, they put it into a shell, and that's it. Well, for VAT reasons, of course, they have to keep these receipts, and also they wanted to have them digital, so they OCR the stuff. And then they have SAP, the ERP system, and they wanted to match it. So they OCR it and match it. Now the problem is, in worst case, the difference between that one and the next one is only 1 digit. Because if the same person with the same credit card buys the same goods 2 times and he wanted to have 2 receipts, the only difference is 1 digit. Now the error on that receipt is about 4% in the OCR. Guess what? No process possible. I mean, there's no optimization possible here, because you never know whether you're right or wrong. Now with 4% of an error, it could happen that one of the characters is not really recognized, so it's missing, so you have only 15 numbers, and since it can be 16 or 18, it could happen that there are 17, because he judged an error here as another number. So you have 17, so you don't even know whether it's 16 or 17. Now if you go with rule-based systems, you can do that. It will take you forever, and you never get 100% right, because you know, some of the numbers don't have any rules. They're just counting upwards, and you don't know in which row this appears, so you have no clue whether this is counted up or not. It's just wrong. Now if we are looking this as a human, we are able to match it all the time. Why? We look at it as pattern recognition. So we will look at the numbers and we will find out, the first 5 are correct, and there is 1 wrong, and the next 4 are okay, and then there's 1 wrong, and then the next one okay. Well, and this one is the closest to that one over here, so that's the one it is. And exactly that's how the system is looking on that. We could, when we installed it, at that time I didn't have anything to show. I ran into this customer and he said, well, I have a problem. I have 15 people in this department, and you know, we have low margins, business is not going well, so we have to kick some people. And we have to organize that process. So can you help us? And I said, well, yeah, we can. We can solve that problem. We can reduce that to half a person from 15. And he said, are you sure? And I said, yeah, I'm sure. Can you show me something? No, I just know that we can do that. And he said, okay, how much? Now I wasn't prepared. so I said, oh, $500,000. And he said, okay, but I'm going to let them go now. So in 3 months, expect that the system is running. And we did a handshake. And exactly 3 months after, the system was running, and we had half a person left at that position. And we were better than 0.4% automatic process. 0.4% were remaining manually, because it was so shrinkled that you couldn't read it, or upside down or reverse side, nothing on it and stuff like that. So that for me was one of the first proof that the idea is right. Now if you fly with Swiss or Swiss Airlines and other chartered airlines from Switzerland, you will be checked by our system, because our system is checking names, for example. Now that's the problem. If you come to a Swiss counter in Switzerland at Kloten and you buy a ticket, and you have a non-Swiss name, maybe Asian type or Russian type of name, well, the girl doesn't even have the keyboard to type you right. So it will type you wrong, but she will type it phonetically right somehow. So you need to have a system which is phonetically checking out whether that could be the name, and then you have this blacklist from Homeland Security, and you have to match against those and all that. You have the cleared list and the candidate list, and you know, all that. So that's exactly what the system is doing. It's running in Switzerland, it's running in Germany, it's running at JFK, and it runs since 2 years, and we haven't heard anything from it. They just order once in a while some new license, so I guess it's doing their job.